A few months back, FeiyuTech released a travel-sized gimbal called the Scorp Mini, and they sent it out for me to try. And it's really lightweight. It's 787 grams, so you don't even really notice it in your bag. And because of its small size, it does make it the perfect travel gimbal. Even though this is a small gimbal, it will support not just action cameras and mobile phones, but also some mirrorless cameras. So FeiyuTech have a list on their website about which cameras are compatible, not just in terms of the weight and the size, but also being able to connect those cameras so that you can control the cameras via the gimbal. And the camera that I've been using it with is a Nikon Z30, which is a great camera for traveling and vlogging, and it's really lightweight and quite small, so it just makes the perfect setup for if you want to travel light with your gear. The only thing that I've noticed is that with electronic stabilization, it crops in, which most cameras do anyway, or a lot of cameras do, and being an APS-C sensor, it's already cropped. So if you're using a 16mm, if you want to not have as much crop, then not using image stabilization is the best way, but then you're going to get shaky footage, so using the FeiyuTech gimbal really helped in that scenario. Also, if you are using the gimbal for vlogging, having the trigger button flip the camera front and back makes it a lot easier when you want to talk to the camera and then you want to quickly flip it around so that you can show something that you're talking about. It's also really cool that you've got a feature on the menu which allows you to flip the camera from being vertical to portrait. So instead of you trying to hold the gimbal in a really awkward way, you can just press the portrait button and it'll flip the gimbal for you, and then you can just carry on using it as normal. The gimbal's also got a handle, but you can't remove it, which is one of the downsides because it doesn't make it quite as compact as it could be. But the benefit of having the handle is that it just makes it easy to handle. And it means that if you want to hold the gimbal down low to get a kind of briefcase shot, so following something low to the ground, then it makes it easy to do that. And the handle also has a touchscreen on it, so you can manage all your settings and visit the menu on the touchscreen on the handle, which also makes it really easy because then you don't have to necessarily take your hand off the gimbal whilst you're doing that. And the gimbal's also got a wheel at the front which allows you to control the tilt of the gimbal. And also, if you've got your camera attached to the gimbal via a USB cable, then you can actually manage the focus, and so you can pull focus via that wheel as well. So the button on the side allows you to kind of toggle between those settings, so it's just up to you how you want to use that wheel, but it's really useful to have that there. So the overall build of the gimbal is really nice. It's got a really high quality feel to it. The only thing that I found myself getting annoyed with is the fact that the power button is on the side and it protrudes. So if you put it down or it's in your bag, there is the possibility for it to switch on without you even realizing that it's switched on. And obviously that's not going to be good for the motors, having the motors, the gimbal turn on when the motors are locked or there's no camera on there. So I did get in touch with FeiyuTech about this, and they mentioned that there was a firmware update that actually fixes this. So I wasn't able to do that for this video, but once I've applied the firmware update, then I'll drop in the comments whether that's made a difference and how it's made a difference. But that was the only thing that I found myself getting annoyed with the gimbal. Otherwise, absolutely loved using it. It was just such a nice gimbal to use, really smooth, footage looks great, and it's definitely one that I would take around with me because I could use it with my action cameras and my mirrorless cameras and my phone. So hope that you found the video useful. If you're in the market for another gimbal, there's so many gimbals, but hopefully this one was useful and maybe one that you consider. So I've dropped a link in the description, and thanks for watching. Catch you next time.